Welcome to my Gunslinger build, you trigger happy bastards. This is mid to end game build. I really don't want to go into definitions because people are being Nancy's about it. Choose your own definition, I don't give a fuck. Anyway, point of this build is to shoot bastards so they die, obviously, as we are not into business of taking prisoners. We also have high survivability due to high dodge chance and decent health pool. However, this build is not that great against bosses, at least in this video that I'm showing you, because I did not have 5th skill slot unlocked. Can't be arsed farming it, I'll get it eventually, who gives a crap. I'm gonna show you what to slot into it, so that you're gonna get enough burst damage to take down bosses easily. Attributes should look something like this. Ferocity and toughness are our primary attributes. Simply put every single point into these two. That way we can have enough critical chance to benefit from high critical damage and also enough survivability. We'll get increased attack speed through some of the passives, so don't worry about that. Even though we don't really need it except for auto attacks to fill up rage meter faster and for some other stuff. Another important thing is to have freeze chance higher than your usual ailment chance, because I'm not putting any points into wisdom, but I will get increased elemental status ailment score on my weapons. That is kinda an important thing. Dodge chance is our primary defensive attribute. I have it here at 70%, which is quite decent, and with such high health pool we are good to go. From gear, I'm using rogue pieces, but you can also use bruiser because bruiser also offers dodge chance, up to you. Depending on which gear piece you get first, that grants high dodge chance. Things you should look out for on these gear pieces are obviously critical hit chance and dodge chance. These are the most important things. And also you can put gems to increase dodge chance even further. Status ailment chance score also is not a bad upgrade, and any kind of direct damage increase like material damage, elemental damage, blah 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 is a good thing too. On the accessories, I'm mostly using these steel rings that increase critical hit damage with added Alexandrite gem to increase critical hit chance. It's that simple. Elemental status ailment chance score, critical hit damage, critical hit chance, they're all good stats here, you already know the drill. Now for the weapons, you gotta have frost damage as your primary one. You'll know that by simply having this ailments chance freeze. If it's anything else, then frost is not your primary one. I put also gems here that increase physical damage, frost damage, critical damage and so on. Stats that you should look out for on the guns are definitely life leech, attacks, critical hit chance score, elemental status ailment chance score, added frost damage and so on. Now I don't have on both life leech unfortunately, but fuck it. Can't be arsed farming. Passive skill tree should look something like this. I'm gonna just go through it quickly. We can go to wild card to get increased critical hit chance score. From wild card we get to the assassin tree, your typical critical hit chance score and merciless lethality nodes. All the usual shit. Dodge chance, dodge chance, dodge chance, blah blah blah. Clandestine execution, great against bosses. Do paranoia as well. From there on out we go to Alastor upgrades. And this one, intravenous neural core. This is only good for auto attacks. With auto attacks we feel Sparking Dart and Static Transferal very fast, and that is why attack speed is kinda important, but it isn't really. It's good to have it, but toughness is more important attribute in this case. Sparking Dart is a weird one when you read its description. You would think that only base lightning damage gets boost from this particular skill, but it's not the case. Skills with base lightning damage, yes, but also device skills that don't have base lightning damage. I've tested this and that is definitely true. So take it, But don't take this upgrade, it's not necessary. For overload, for static transferal, definitely get this. Overload points are halved instead of set to 0. This is good. Now that's one part. Second part is covered operative to increase our dodge chance by a significant amount after taking a hit. Then we go all the way to here. To come what may. All projectiles pierce every target within a 6-meter radius. This is good with Havoc Orb and pretty much all projectiles. No reason not to have it. Then we're gonna take both these pots because one increases projectile damage, the other one increases dodge chance score. Next to that, we're gonna take Archeon's teachings because of the increased number of projectiles, 2 projectile skills. But they also receive minus 50% projectile damage. That's okay because we're gonna offset it with this upgrade and this upgrade a bit. Now from there on out, go from puncturing shot to meditative focus and then reduce the requirement to 4 meters for this nice boost of 25% damage. From there on out, we're going to go to persistence hunting that increases 25% damage to enemies with impaired movement, which is frozen, and we are doing ice damage as our primary one, so fuck it, it works. Freeze chance score on frost damage, self-explanatory node. From there on out, we go to this bastard that also increases frost damage on our way to there. It's kind of difficult to explain, but basically, if you pierce an enemy, enemies behind that pierced enemy will receive increased damage. And also take Cruel Sting node. Now this is the basic setup. I don't have anything else besides that, and I don't need it. But from there on out, you can also go for, you should definitely go for White Arrow to receive cold-blooded points while in combat. Take the upgrade as well. I would also suggest going to Life Leech over here. 4% added Life Leech is a nice little thing to have. After Global Life Leech nodes, you can definitely go to Exorcist Tree and to Branded Burst. This is very good. Besides Branded Burst, I wouldn't advise on anything. Headhunter is okay, but it's really if you don't know what else to put points in. Don't go for Blessed Silver, it doesn't work well with this build because of the auto attacks. But you can take all the minor nodes that increase projectile damage and dodge chance score. So there you go, that's how you level it. After all this, you can also go for here projectiles damage, couple of nodes, and then for attack speed score, second wind, and so on. I leave that to you. I only have 4 skill slots, which is not good. At least not for this build. For my assassin build it didn't make any difference whatsoever, I wouldn't even use it. But for this one it actually does make a difference. Because with Gunslinger's Brand we clear everything up until bosses. But when we get to bosses, Gunslinger's Brand is useless. So what we do instead, we use Havoc's Orb, but it's not enough. We also put Mark of Impurity to make them more vulnerable to damage, but we're also gonna need 5th skill slot, which I did not have in this video, but look, it's easy to use, so don't bitch about it. Use Phantom Blades, slot it, because Phantom Blades do not require any kind of rage consumption, so you can just spam them when they recharge, and that will help you tremendously in achieving burst damage against bosses next to Havoc's Orb after they have Mark of Impurity on them. So Phantom Blades should be leveled something like this. Basically additional charges, additional damage, increased critical chance, leave a trail, blah blah blah, you know the drill. Now, for Gunslinger's Brand, go for increased critical damage then, number of targets, you can go for Pierce 2. Critical damage increases with aiming time, resets after maximum aiming time is reached. Yeah, go for that definitely. This one, definitely Order Through Chaos. Every shot that hits an enemy increases damage on the next shot, blah blah blah. The buff is reset when a shot misses. Increases critical chance and damage for each element stack an enemy has. I didn't know honestly what to go for, so I went with that. We're gonna put, 1 or 2 ailment stacks on the enemy that is cursed and frozen, so fuck it. And this one, This one is very important. Friendly fire is why this skill is so goddamn good. Without this skill is shit. Even the final upgrade is shit. You would think that it would be good against bosses when you can just shoot whole magazine into the boss at once and it would do insane damage. No. Whole damage from this skill actually comes from this goddamn node called Friendly Fire combined with Order Through Chaos. And all the other damage increases, but these are the primary ones. We have typical Dusk Shroud, leaves you invisible, reduce the rage cost, regenerate stamina points after dropping a Shadow Cloud, that's quite important. Break any crowd control, force shield, blah blah blah, you know how it goes. And definitely take the first one, Shadow Cloud, that increases dodge chance. It doesn't increase it by a lot, but it fucking does by a little bit, which is enough. Have a Corb. Anyway, don't take additional projectiles, there's no need for that. Go for increased area of effect, weapon damage, critical hit chance score, go for glory to mankind, extreme fragmentation, affinity for destruction is kinda good, and decrease weapon damage. So basically just go for damage things. All the other stuff I have tested multiple times and none of them are really that good. Thanks to the passive node that increases our projectile number, we don't need these upgrades that would otherwise reduce weapon damage by 170%. So we will shoot 2 rockets anyway, without these added projectile upgrades. Last one, Mark of Impurity. Basically increase the duration and the vulnerability to damage that enemies will have. Definitely take a Cursed Blade because this put maximum amount of curse stacks on an enemy, which leads to I think 14% added damage, something like that. Last one we have Evasion. Go for reduced cooldown, rage for each enemy hit by the projectile, skill drops an additional projectile, increased damage. Bomb leaves damaging area of effect instead of inflicting a slowing effect, very good. And leaves a decoy that generates threat. This is optional because I don't find decoys that useful, but against bosses maybe it can be useful, I don't know. Now on to how to play this. We use auto attacks to fill our overload bar and our sparking dart. These both increase damage from Gunslinger's Brand and have a Corb. When there are multiple enemies on the screen, we use Gunslinger's Brand all the time. That includes champions, bosses, whatever. Reason for that are those 2 passive upgrades for Gunslinger Brand that I've mentioned specifically, called Friendly Fire and Order Through Chaos, something like that. This means bullets will ricochet between enemies and every bullet will have increased damage. And that is why we can achieve high damage numbers with Gunslinger's Brand. But it's only good against large groups of enemies. So if there is a champion or boss amongst a lot of other enemies, use Gunslinger's Brand. If you are fighting boss that only has 1 or 2 adds, in that case I would advise completely ditching Gunslinger's Brand and using Heva Corb and Phantom Blades. Do not forget to put Mark of Impurity on every champion, special or whatever kind of difficult boss type figures. This increases damage they receive significantly. So put Mark of Impurity and then spam Heva Corb and Phantom Blades on their arse. 2 other skills that I did not mention how to use, but you already know how to use them, are Evasion and Dusk Shroud. Dusk Shroud has an upgrade that I've already shown you that regenerates stamina points. This is great for dodging because sometimes we just have to dodge a bit and can't blow everything out of the water instantly. It also makes you invisible for a couple of seconds, buying you some time. So don't forget about Dusk Shroud. Evasion is great when enemies have surrounded you, so you have to get away from it and you're gonna also deal nice damage. Evasion can be also used effectively against bosses for some added DPS. That would be all. Thank you for watching, I hope you enjoyed the video, have fun and stay tuned for more builds.